Welcome back to Game 2 in this matchup between H2K and Roccat. H2K have a 1-0 lead and are looking to take the series win with another match here. And Deficio, while we were in the ad break, I saw Jankos and the rest of the H2K fans had a 69% vote for Roccat to go down on H2K against H2K, and it's pretty one-sided. I mean, it was a smashing, and Roccat, they have side selection, they picked blue. Do you think it helps them?
See, I missed everything leading up to the last little part because of what you said, but I mean...
It's very childish of you, Deficio.
It means they won't give away a Zac.
Okay.
So that's a start, you know. So yeah, it's definitely going to help them. Is it going to save them? Probably not.
Right.
Because I mean, judging from the first game, right, it wasn't just about the comps. It was a massive outplay in favor of H2K.
H2K as a team have sometimes been explosive in a game, and then not been as explosive in future
it's
games.
just when you get too excited, it feels like all the H2K players, their heads just explode from all the hype, and they just forget how to play the game all of a sudden. Seeing as they're still building up, you know, a little bit, it shouldn't be this game. Zac is banned.
All right, so H2K not going to fall into the same trap that Roccat did in game number 1. Where else do we go from here? I mean, do you ban Elise? Do you fear Pridestalker's Elise?
No, you probably do not. So I think Roccat might have to ban it away. I think H2K will just ban Caitlyn, which of course is still considered one of the absolute S-tier picks. But once Elise, Zac, and Caitlyn are gone, I feel like most of the must first picks have been removed, and then it's actually very open. There's so many different choices. If you watch different regions, you see everything from, you know, Rumble first picks into Thresh first picks into Korkmore first picks. Like Taliyah first pick in Samsung versus SKT today was another example of going like, okay, everyone have very different priorities on what is a must first pick for their comp. H2K will probably leave Elise open because they're not afraid of Pridestalker. I wouldn't really fault them for that one. You can still, worst case, trade Elise for Rek'Sai.
What do you think of Rockat's bans? Ashe and Caitlyn with the Braum as well, so Nuclear and Chei being hit, and then Wadid's Rakan is taken onto the pool.
Yeah, I don't like Roccat banning the Caitlyn. I think they should take the Caitlyn, because if they take Caitlyn now, yes, you give Jankos Elise, but again, there are still good junglers available you can get in return, and you actually end up getting a nice trade with the best AD carry possible for a Roccat bot lane that was very passive with the Allistar last time. Obviously, you can't play more aggressive. Roccat needs some winning lanes if they want to match H2K's early game, and Caitlyn could have been the answer. Well,
let's see whether or not Roccat can find some other collection of champions. Jankos opens up his Lee Sin backpack. We'll be going toe-to-toe with Pridestalker's Elise.
Oh, I was talking about Tahm Kench with Rakan, Thresh, Braum being banned away. I think his value is very high. Kalista is another one. We see also almost perm-banned or perm-picked in LCK at the moment. Fits so well with these melee supports. And H2K's draft here obviously saying give away Elise, get a jungle trade plus the preferred AD carry available. And I think it's fine because Pridestalker's Elise has not been great in the past.
Has not been super impactful. 4 games played, 2 wins, 2 losses for Roccat.
When your kills plus assist at 15 minutes in 4 games played as Elise is 0.5, then you're not getting a lot out of the early game from a champion that needs to do well in the early game.
I love the league averages directly below that stat on your screen. 2.2 kills plus assist is the average. Let's see whether or not Pridestalker can continue to improve, because it has been slow growth in summer, but it is growth. We are seeing him grow, and for a man to step into Max Law's shoes, they were pretty big shoes to fill when Roccat ended their spring split with that 6 series winning streak.
Oh, what are we getting here? Okay, H2K takes the Shen against the Renekton. Don't want to see that banned away. They just want to take a matchup where you don't beat the Renekton, but you can try and stay alive and then impact other lanes. I'm not a massive fan of Tristana here from Roccat. Picked against the Kalista. I actually think Kalista does just fine in this matchup, and I really like seeing drafts where you can try and all-in Kalista in lane before she gets like a lot of mobility. I don't really think Tristana is going to do that against H2K's draft. Also, of course, with the Shen backing now up the bot lane for H2K. So it is scary to see what H2K wants to draft for support as well.
Yeah, where do they go for mid laners? I mean, Corki's still up. We can see Syndra's taken out of the pool. Febiven has always got the reliable Orianna to fall back to.
Mid lane is almost the most boring lane in the pick and ban phase right now, because so many picks are actually fine as blind picks. Like, you can go for things like Orianna, Syndra, Corki, Taliyah, all four, even Cassiopeia. Like, most of these, if you just have stuff like Syndra banned, that we see almost banned every game,
yeah,
well, they're fine picks to go for, and worst case, you get a bit of a tough lane matchup, but not enough to just completely make you useless. We do see some casted and counter picks, which I really like against things like Taliyah specifically, but it's not like the Taliyah is useless by any means. She can still have a massive impact on the game, which is the thing about mid lane. There's no, to me, super hard counters that just make the other mid laner useless.
And we've seen casted into Corki a couple times as well, haven't we? Let's see whether or not Betsy decides to run that Corki mid again. Touched on these supports a lot in game number 1, Deficio. You talked about the Kalista Allistar combination. Harjan and Wadid, while they survived the lane, they weren't really able to make that combo work for them because the rest of the map fell apart.
Well, now you add in a Shen ulti to this combo. I like the Tahm Kench pick here for Roccat. They know that the bot lane will be a focus from H2K's side. They want a support that can try and stay alive during potential tower dives. I would actually have loved to see the Tahm Kench banned instead of the Lulu. But I think H2K were feeling like a perma-push lane. Tristana, Lulu just push 24/7, making it very hard to play Allistar. So they probably felt it was necessary to get rid of Lulu for that specific reason.
And you look at the rest of the support bands: Thresh, Rakan, Braum, Blitzcrank, Lulu. Everything Wadid has played, including the Allistar, have been taken away. And this means we're going to see him for the first time in summer on this defensive support. It's going to be interesting because his playstyle for the majority of the split has not necessarily been that more defensive style.
Sure, he can be active with the Tahm Kench ultis if his team are actually leading in the game and they can try and make some of those quick rotations, but his job in the laning phase is to make sure when Shen goes bot lane with his ulti, you are keeping your AD carry alive. Rocket's comp though, because they have Elise, a bit more punch in the early game. They can actually play around the Renekton much more effective with this lineup here. They can really try to snowball Phaxi, while the other two lanes, both Orianna and the Tristana bot lane, should be safe on their own. So I really want to see Pridestalker and Phaxi work together in this early game, because you gotta attack the global.
Always. It's one of the oldest lessons in League of Legends. Attack the global, don't chase a Singed. There's always a Garen in the bush. And if you're on stage, Fnatic are waiting to kill you from a bush. Those are some of those unwritten rules that you just have to learn. And let's see whether or not Pridestalker on this Elise can land any jabs or punches against H2K. Because as it stands, they are left bloodied, beaten, and bruised from game number 1. Team compositions one more time on screen. You guys know how to vote. 69% of you are with H2K as we load up into game 2. Can Roccat force the decider, or is this a clean 2-0 for H2K?
Judging from game 1, then H2K will once again be the big favorites in the second game. I think that draft with the Shen, though, is definitely something you can abuse on the side of Roccat if you manage to actually shut down Odoamne early with the Renekton and Elise. We do know, of course, the Shen would love to join a diving Allistar, and then suddenly H2K can be aggressive.
That point to be so much better with more cowbell.
You're getting it. You're getting it.
Oh, the timing was just so spot on.
It was actually perfect.
Chei, thank you so much for timing that one out with me. Oh, I love it when the crowd here gets involved. I hope everyone at home is clapping and stamping their feet. I love how that to everybody who's watching.
I love how every Allistar level 1 we have seen here today has been just the Allistar stand in a brush and just start spamming the cowbell. Don't move around. Don't do anything else. Just sit there and do that.
Well, you can't be losing if you're just playing music. Although, I must say, actually, for everybody who doesn't get the more cowbell jokes, please go search for that Saturday Night Live skit. It needs more cowbell. It is a classic. It is a retro. I don't know how old or young some of our viewers are.
Let's see. Oh, never mind. Betsy actually checks with the ball. They are looking for that Raptor steal away. H2K have truly picked up on the North American trends from Rift Rivals. We see how actually these teams always going for the Raptor camp as well. Jankos, though, on Elise, I'm a fan. I like to see him on early game junglers as well. And I want to see where he's putting his focus, because top lane is going to be difficult with the Shen. So instead, mid lane, potentially try and shut down Betsy, or go bot lane once we get a few levels under this Allistar's belt.
All right, Wadid already moving forward in the lane, as you can when you enter those melee supports with Tahm Kench. Take a quick look in the mid lane as Betsy and Febiven.
Oh, look at this started from
Straight
Jankos.
back and forth.
They obviously know that Elise was starting on the Raptor camp when they walked in and checked. So Jankos just did his Raptor camp, rushed straight into the blue buff, but Roccat are actually kind of ready for it, which is why they are sitting right now with the ward on this blue buff, and Pridestalker will just trade. No big advantage gained. Important thing to note, though, is that right now, actually, I'm just looking at the bot lane fight.
Get gobbled up. Wadid's going to chow down Chei before the headbutt comes back out. Nuclear decides to get a couple of stacks inside Harjan and pops the rend.
Look at Phaxi here. He's actually finding Jankos.
Dum-dum. Will Jankos go down? Blast cone over the wall, slices forward. Phaxi's in a little bit of trouble. The dice comes out, Coldamik as well.
Actually lost that trade.
And resonating strike goes backwards. Jankos declares this is my jungle.
So the reason Jankos is doing this, where he's taking the top half of the map, and why it's very good for H2K, is it stops Pridestalker from going for a level 3 gank against the Shen with the Renekton. No early snowball going to start against Odoamne, because his jungler is controlling the top side and just making sure Pridestalker is forced to go to the other side of the map, where he's not really able to execute any early game gank. So that's why it's important that Jankos are doing what he's doing now. He also gets out with another camp under his belt, just left a small wolf. He's getting maximum value right now, and he's keeping Odoamne safe.
And look at the advantage that is afforded to Odo in the top lane. Yes, there is a minion wave that is plummeting towards Phaxi. He can get some regen with that Q in the minion wave. Now let's see whether or not Jankos decides to punish. Blast cone just to jump over the pits. Tower dive.
Get a Rift Scuttle at least.
There we go.
Secure some vision. He might just pass by it now, because Phaxi is down to 50% HP. Odoamne is full HP.
Is he really going for this?
I think you can. On the tower right now, if you land the taunt into enough burst damage, yeah, Phaxi should die.
Bomb, bomb. There's a big minion wave as well. Febiven's already on the roam. If this goes too long, Febi can respond. There's the taunt. The burst damage comes up. Phaxi slices, dices, flashes. Jankos continues to chase. Double buffs are up.
Wait for the
He
Q.
needs one more kick. Ward hop goes in. Jankos, the first blood king.
There you go. Bot lane as well, some trading, but Wadid, he is safe for now. That's what we just talked about with the top lane here. You literally just tell Pridestalker you're on the bottom side. Jankos just walked back into tower. Oh, God. He just walked back into tower and died.
Oh, as king, you can giveth and taketh as you desire. We need to see a replay of how that happened.
He's just giving back to the people. He's giving back to the people.
Oh.
Okay, this is great. You control top side, you shut down Renekton early, you deny him the wave as well, because these minions did not die while Phaxi was near them, so no experience for him. All this is fine. Perfect jungling. You know, we're all proud of Jankos at this point. Let's see. No!
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 Oh.
Come on, we want to see him die.
I'll ask.
Meanwhile, we're still waiting for Pridestalker to find
I have
someone
house production, so we'll get it soon.
Okay. We should get it. We want to make fun of Jankos. It's actually the only reason we're here.
True story. And we'll figure out how quickly we can get to that Deficio. Because, of course, H2K, they did get first blood. They got themselves an early game lead, but with Phaxi getting that reply kill and teleporting back to lane, not the worst of starts here.
No, but again, like, you're playing a Renekton who is currently even in farm, actually slightly behind compared to a Shen. You've already died. You've funny enough gotten a kill as well for some reason, but you have died at least earlier on. And your Elise has not even been near your side of the map, because once again, Pridestalker is on the bottom side. He's once again trading the sides here, and it means that he's just farming on Elise, which is in favor of H2K.
And that means Roccat needs to figure out how they bounce back, right? How do they turn the tide in their favor? Level 6s have been reached for both top laners. Is Jankos, he's tilting, man.
He's completely
That's
gone.
full tilt. If you can't hit the Krugs, maybe that means game 3. Maybe that's what we're going to look at.
Oh, he's going to go bot lane as well and not even find a camp.
Oh, you see, this is why he's tilting.
Okay. So he gets the kill. Minions are hitting him. He walks. Oh, the last minion died. No! No!
Reaction cam? Yes! We get reaction cam. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the first blood king. See? And that's why he tilted. That's why he couldn't hit the Krugs, okay? That is the exact play that tilt is made of. Let's see whether or not it impacts the rest of the game. Devour comes out from Wadid. That saves Hjarnen's life, but as we get close to level 6, H2K's dual lane starting to take over control. Plus 10 CS. Hjarnen and Wadid being forced backwards.
Wait for Allistar level 6, combine that with a Shen ulti, and you have a lot of pressure against this bottom lane. Odoamne wants to get Phaxi under that tower. Does keep him there. Jankos, he finds a red buff, but also a spider.
All right, Cocoon from Pridestalker. Gonna get blocked by the Brambleback.
And the important thing here, Trevor, is there's no tower around to kill Jankos. So he's actually safe in the jungle. If he just stays in the jungle, he cannot die to a tower.
Well, let's see whether or not the rest of H2K can help out, because I was looking at that invade, Deficio, and Febiven, his lane was pushed, Nuclear and Chei, their lanes are pushed. Jankos is doing...
He's back.
He's got the ability to have support. All right, Smite fight on the horizon, kicking away Pridestalker. Repel comes up and comes down.
Oh, Pride got it.
Secured by Pridestalker. Cocoon on the back end. Remember, Jankos is tilting, guys. He needs to recover from that play.
He needs to kill somewhere. He needs something. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for Chei to hit his level 6 right now, and we're actually also still waiting for the first gank from Pridestalker. Remember, his average kill plus assist at 15 minutes on Elise is 0.5. They're fighting each other.
There's a Shen. Remember, Jankos gets a stand united. Pridestalker's coming in. The ward hop out to safety. Jankos uses the W, not gone down yet. This is the Sonic Wave, and Pridestalker is killed. Now Jankos is down. Hjarnen gets the reset. He hops forward. Flash over from
they're gonna get him.
Here comes Wadid with the Devour, the lick, the stick. Hjarnen looking for the kill, but on the back end, Chei knocks him under the tower. Now Hjarnen's the target. He's forced to flash. Here comes Nuclear. Fate's call. Everybody's invited to the mid lane party, but it's Hjarnen that's going down. The chase is coming out. Chase looking for the CC. Hjarnen is stunned. Nuclear rends for the kill.
Phaxi just stayed tough. He was like, nah, I'm not joining that fight. I'm just going to stay away here. In the end, though, Hjarnen dying. So many kills just happened right there. Starts with the junglers fighting each other. There's a Shen ulti coming in. Febi is here, low on mana, to be fair, but then Wadid with the Tahm Kench ulti on point, instantly joins with Tristana. 1 kill onto Jankos, then a kill onto Odoamne, and of course H2K's bottom lane, they're not here yet because, well, they don't have a Tahm Kench ulti, funny enough. Hjarnen does take his time to kill Febi under this tower. Meanwhile, Chei joining in, knocks back Wadid. And I do realize I'm very much playing this replay, but dude, it's all you can do right here.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. Deficio, how do you analyze a series of plays like that?
I mean, you talk about how Pridestalker either disrespected Shen ulti or had already called Wadid be ready for a fight. So when the Shen ulti comes down, Wadid can join in time. And both teams thought they were setting up traps against each other. And they actually ended up trapping each other as well. Again, a lot of kills. Wadid steps away.
Chei's pulverized was embarrassingly early. Did not manage to get the knockout now.
I think more was a bait from Wadid.
Okay. It was. There we go. So
celebrate the players, Trevor.
Kudos to Wadid. And now all of a sudden, H2K, they're pushed away from the dragon. Got that down to half. Pridestalker and his Spiderling's going to reset on the dragon.
Betsy.
Bell comes back in. Betsy a little bit caught out, stunned in place. Roccat jump over the wall. It's a melee in the pit. Roccat get the dragon. Devour from Wadid, but it's not going to be enough to escape just yet. Jankos with red buff. Pridestalker is going to be very low. Escapes for now. Sonic Wave not going to find a target as Wadid is shut down by Nuclear. Pridestalker looking for the repel.
Where's he going?
Finds Nuclear. Gets taken down. Double kill as H2K take the lead.
Man, this game is just crazy fights everywhere. Yeah, Krabs, he can't even look at it. He can't see this. That setup was actually really good from H2K, and then you saw Chei right there. He just saw the enemy mid lane and was just sitting all alone. All in, Betsy was out of the fight instantly. Bot lane tower going down for H2K now. Hjarnen is on his way trying to defend. Sadly, nothing he can do, and now 3 kills on Nuclear on this Kalista here. Huge for him.
And tower first blood, Deficio, and first dragon of the game. Nuclear sitting on 1,700 gold. He's got 1,400 more than his opponent. And again, another chaotic fight.
Yeah, but so look at the setup here from Roccat. They have TPs that are like, look, we should fight. But Phaxi, he cancels. Betsy, leave. You have to just leave now. You're stuck. You're all alone. He stays, forced to flash. He's out of the fight. Okay, rest of Roccat. Now you have to leave. But no, they all want to all in for the Drake, despite not even having their mid laner or top laner here. That obviously means H2K can just kill them.
And Hjanen, with no flash available, Roccat jumps into the pit while his mid laner was running away.
The thing a lot of pro teams need is someone who says no. There's often too many times to someone saying yes, 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 go, go, go. And if they don't have a no man, a boring anti-fun person, they end up in these fights all the time because everyone is just screaming, go, 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 fight, fight, fight. And Chei's doing the same.
Go, 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 fight, fight, fight. That's what H2K say. They've got a 5-man stack in the bottom lane. Wadid is going down. Hjanen will follow. And Deficio, it's looking like the end of the day here for Roccat. Let's see whether or not another play breaks out, because I want to set up a brief discussion around Rockat's opponents. Obviously, they're playing H2K today. The expectation is they're going to lose. But let's look at the teams they play over the next 3 weeks, because it's kind of a mixture.
We're kind of setting up for a mid lane dive here, Trevor.
We are indeed. All right, Betsy's going to die. Pretty well executed by H2K.
Love it.
But look at the upcoming opponents here for Roccat, because one of the things we're talking about, if G2 lose and Roccat can beat Mysterious Monkeys and NIP, maybe a surprise win elsewhere, that's how Roccat make playoffs.
Yeah, that's actually why Rockat's schedule is super fun to look at, because Mysterious Monkeys, while they're 1-6, it doesn't look great. Like, keep in mind still with the new lineup of Kikis and Amazing, they have looked much better. And I actually think that's a super hard game for Roccat to win. So then suddenly you might look at the NIP series, but that's not enough. They need more wins than just beating NIP. So they have to be able to take down the Monkeys. They have to be able to take down NIP if they want to make playoffs, and that's just the next few weeks we're looking at right there for Roccat. Then they will, of course, play G2 themselves towards the end of the split as well, and that needs to be another win for this team to make top 3.
Crucially, if G2 keep losing, that's how Roccat just need fewer and fewer wins, right?
But you can't rely on that. Like, no, G2 should bounce back, you know? You can't rely on them just losing more and more games. Bot lane, we might see a dive here. Wadid is on his way.
Well, I don't even know if you need a dive. Hjanen putting a lot of damage onto Odo. Here comes the dive from Wadid. Grey Health going to need to get eaten soon. Is popped, but Wadid continues to tank the tower. Phaxi gets the kill. Jankos with an immediate reply. Dices his way through the minion wave. A defensive flash from Hjanen. Looking at the minimap, Nuclear was nowhere near, but H2K get 1 for 1.
And that's why Roccat could go for the tower dive, knowing, okay, AD carry from enemy team is on top side. But that was another TP invested from Phaxi, and all they got was a 1-for-1 trade. So obviously not in favor of Roccat at all. Kind of been the story of this game here. Whenever they've been trying to set up any sort of plays, most of the time they either go even or pretty heavily in favor of H2K in the long run. And that's why I'm talking about things like TP cooldowns. Means, yes, you go even in the trade, but now for the next few minutes, you have no teleport, which means in the long run, you're actually going to lose out on that last trade you had.
Yeah, H2K just accelerate. It's 15 minutes in, Deficio. There's 6k gold up, and it's reactions like this that are keeping him in the lead.
Yeah, again, they're calling the Kalista is on top side. Go for the tower dive. The problem is you are only level 6 on your support, so tanking a lot of tower shots is difficult, and the rest of H2K actually respond very quickly. So that's the 1-for-1 with Phaxi TP gone. Hjanen does stay alive. In the end, has to use his summoners. Peripheral Herald going down as well. And notice how this game with the Allistar, where H2K could actually play around the bot lane a little bit more, you've seen some super active moves from Chei. Last game, Roccat could not do the same because they were losing multiple lanes.
Yep.
And we just see a massive difference in how impactful Allistar can be for your team.
Absolutely. Febiven, he's got his package that we know how good he is with it. We're going to look for some plays everywhere on the map. I'm looking at the items. I mean, Triforce, Sork Shoes, Titanic completed for Odo. He almost 1v1'd Hjanen a few minutes ago. Already sitting very comfortable. Nuclear as well, by the way. Working towards his first completed Zeal item. While Hjanen doesn't even have a Zeal or an Eye Edge yet. So Tristana so heavily behind.
Oh, he's finding Pridestalker.
All right, big burst of damage. Febi's not going to use the W just yet, but look at the rest of H2K. Pushing into Rockat's jungle, setting up the vision, just keeping Roccat deep in their own territory. They can't push out. It's very difficult, very risky for them.
Definitely H2K, once they got the advantage, done a good job in both games right now, getting 2 lanes pushing at the same time and actually have the coordination between them, so you're not overextending in one of them. You can see mid pushing, while bot is pushing, and you have Shen ulti available, which means you are safe in both lanes. Also top lane, you see Tristana and Wadid are actually sitting up there, trying to take the tower, but Odoamne should be able to defend it.
Especially with Febiven making his way up from mid lane. All right, Dragon's going to get picked up here by Jankos. I'm going to keep my eyes on the mini-map. as it looks like Harjan and Wadid should be able to escape.
Remember, you can interrupt that pretty easy for Febi.
Is going to look to do so. Does interrupt it. Stand United instantly gets channeled. Buster shot comes backwards. Odo, no flash for the taunt.
Sacrifice the support.
All right, Wadid is waddling to safety. Harjan stops to get a couple autos in the minion wave.
He's farming. He's maximizing farm here.
Going to get taken down here. Kill will be secured by Odoamne very easily.
Trying to play no Tristana.
Wadid
no
is still
Tristana.
waddling, by the way. It's actually Harjan that was the sacrifice. Nope, Wadid is going down as well. Nuclear, unstoppable, 5-0-2. Deficio, do you have a moment to listen to a Quickshot stat?
Is it about Cloud Drakes?
No, it is not. It is not. It's about kills. A little bit more exciting, I hope you'll find. This game at 15 minutes had the most kills at 15 minutes of all games, the split.
Wow.
It was 16. H2K also were second for most kills for a team. They hold the record at securing 12 kills by 15 minutes in week 1 against Splice.
That, I remember that series. That was a huge stomp in favor of H2K. A bit like this one we're seeing right now. See what happens in the jungle, Trevor. More kills might happen.
There's a rumble in the jungle, and it's Phaxi that's getting jumped on. Good damage return, though, into Jankos and Chei. Phaxi in a 1v4 finally goes down. Imagine if the shockwave had been there to help. Betsy, the shockwave misses because he's killed during the animation. Didn't even finish. And H2K, 8,000 gold up, 18 minutes on knocking on the inhibitor turrets.
I just love the aggression, man. They're so quick right now, H2K, just forcing fights. Yes, of course, they're really far ahead, so they can do whatever they want, but we have seen teams be very far ahead and just play it very slow before. They're just constantly engaging.
Yeah, they are indeed. Wadid gets a devour onto Harjan, and that saves his life for a few seconds longer. Odo's taunt falls a little short as the exhaust comes out. Nuclear pops the rend while exhausted. That was suboptimal.
Oh, the Phaxi taxi.
Let's find out where the ride will go. Back to base, apparently.
It was a fake taxi.
It wasn't. He's H2K on the retreat. Wadid gets the devour as they're able to escape. Roccat.
Don't Google that one at home.
Man, it's such a difficult game. The devour just for the red buff.
Ah, see Yanan right there, you know. Sees the kill, doesn't get it. Chei, Jankos, finds the Phaxi, kills the Phaxi as well because, well, his team can't really help him when he gets knocked back and then kicked back and then taunted. And yeah, once you knock back once, you're not really getting out of that one. Betsy, and this is smart, by him dying so quickly, no one sees the missed ulti.
It's like when you sit there and you just went team, team, team. Unfortunately, the team could not close that distance.
Oh, Chei has been on fire this game as Allistar. I'm so happy Allistar is getting back in the meta. Of course, a large part is due to Kalista being so good with him, but again, also against these melee supports, it's rare you get completely stomped in lane against him.
Yeah. Well, Deficio, talking about how excited you are to see Allistar. Look at all the control wards for H2K in the inventory.
I know.
We're just over 20 minutes. You got those 2 items completed for a couple of H2K's carries. 2-man knockup from Chei. Fate's called buys some time. That's a 3-man taunt into a 2-man knockup into Roccat getting wiped. A triple kill for Odoamne.
All right, so what can they get with this? They got super minions in the mid lane. They're looking at some Nexus turrets right now. Yanan is still alive, but Febiven is going to make sure he's going to die very soon.
Well, Febiven trades, gets the kill with a spatula to the back of Harjan's head. H2K are taking down the Nexus turrets. The Phaxi Tuxies back to the fountain as Febiven gets a double kill. H2K are knocking on the Nexus, and with the fastest win of the summer split, obliterate Roccat.
Yeah, I guess some people thought it would be a long day after the 3 games in the first series, but H2K made sure it was a very fast one. Impressive performance from H2K, keeping the aggression going, constantly engaging fights. Chei's Allistar was great to watch. Odoamne showing up again. Like, of course you can praise every member. We have to remember Jankos died to the tower.
Oh yes.
That is a key part to highlight about this game.
Remember, the First Blood King, he not only giveth First Bloods, he concedes his team's first kill, donating it to the tower. A true member of royalty, you know, like giving back to his fans and his followers.
And meanwhile, Roccat, Trevor, after you have like a 2-week break where you practice a little bit more, you get ready for the second half of the split, you really want to come in and make a statement in your first game back. Show that you are legit, you're chasing that playoff spot. Roccat made a statement, but sadly it was not a statement that actually made us believe in the playoffs.
No.
I actually look at this NIP Roccat match right now even more, and how much that might mean for Roccat and NIP regarding, you know, relegation.
It's going to be very, very interesting. Some focused faces on the side of H2K and Deficio, and a couple of, what do we call them, Trev stats in there. We heard the Cloud Drake one, none of them for Roccat yet. That still holds true.
Very important. That's why they're losing.
I had the mention of the most kills at 15 minutes in a game here in summer. And I just got confirmation from the stats team that not only was that the fastest win of the summer split, that was the fastest European LCS win of 2017. Obliteration.
What is the fastest win ever? It must
the problem is there's too many questions. Like, I've seen games end at 18 and a half minutes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It has to be like an 18-minute something. I remember that from North America. That an 18-minute game as well.
I also think we've had a 17 or 18-minute win at Worlds. Back 2-3 years ago, Korean squad against the wildcard, but I need to double check that. But I mean, like H2K, just beautiful, beautiful play. Everything from mechanical outplays, map, vision. I mean, every tick box that would make proud Papa Deficio happy was ticked.
Yeah, but you know, it means that we're all going to buy into the H2K hype now.
We all, or you're going to buy.
We're all going to buy in as a caster team here. But, I mean, it's well-deserved when you have a performance like this. We want to see better early game from them after the last series. We definitely saw a better early game. And
the man that gave them that better early game, despite giving up the kill to the tower, is our player of the series. It is going to be Jankos, of course. That's Zach from game one, just hugely impactful, camping that mid lane.
Yep.
Getting Febiven super far ahead. Game two in his Lee Sin, despite the small mishap. Just again, like flawless.
Yeah, I mean, just before that, he got first blood against the Renekton with a very well-executed tower dive. So I think Jankos is one of the guys we're looking at to really improve their European early game.
Yes.
I say the European one, even though it's not every team that played and different teams have different issues, but we definitely want to see like more focus on strong lanes with a good jungler that can snowball.
And you know what I really like? All of the criticisms we had of the 3 EU squads at Rift Rivals, you actually talked about some of the weaknesses of those squads and how H2K demonstrated some answers to punishing that, like the vision game, the adaptation for the Raptor engage, etc.
Play around mid lane, these different things. That was very effective against a Fnatic or a Unicorn to bluff.
And we'll see whether or not H2K can do it against some of the stronger opponents later in the split. For now, though, H2K, they picked up that win against Roccat. Let's see what their mid laner Febiven has to say after the win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm joined by the mid laner. So, Febi, pretty clean games from you guys. You ended it up pretty quickly. What were you working on in your week off? And don't say you're tan. I know you guys were at the tropical island.
Well, I think we just try to work on our early game a bit, like try to play around the winning lanes and not like play 3 losing lanes, which we did against. Wait, who did we lose to? I mean, we lost, but like the week before. Actually, no, we didn't. We played against Misfits.
You almost lost, to be fair.
So we should have lost. But after the series, we had to get our stuff together. Like having 3 losing lanes is not like really good unless you're playing against a team who doesn't know how to snowball the game. But yeah, I think we just worked on our early game a bit and just more aspects of the game, like in general. So. Well,
that's fair. So it's funny you mentioned getting ahead and trying to work on your laning phase as well, because that's what we saw a lot of the EU teams and Rift Rivals really struggling with, was getting ahead in lanes against the NA teams. Do you think that because that's what you guys have been working on, it's going to give you an edge over everyone else who seems to be struggling a bit?
I think every team is trying to get better in early game, better in lanes. I mean, you don't want to just be stuck and like lose your lanes, because if you lose your lanes, you're gonna lose against the best teams in the league, and also internationally. You can't play. I mean, it's just really hard to play against really good players and lose your lane and the really good teams, because they will just snowball, take the vision, play around their push, and just take your tower slowly. So, yeah, I think winning lane is the way to go.
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt. And as for your own individual performance, you know, we've been talking about you kind of having like a pretty big performance in the summer split so far, getting back to 2015 Febi, or maybe it's just a whole nother Febiven. And with the way the EU teams, especially at Rift Rivals, had kind of underperformed, do you think that this is kind of signaling like a shakeup in the way that EU mids are sort of ranked out now?
Wait, what do you mean?
Let me clarify a little bit. I mean, like, everyone's been talking about like, oh, where they put all their mid laners, right? You're close to the top, but like people are always talking about caps, and obviously Perks has been underperforming. Where do you think you rank up at the moment?
I mean, I think if I played at Rift Rivals, I would have probably been. I'm pretty sure I would have been the best performing mid at the tournament if I was to participate. I just think I'm playing more consistent than all of the players, all the mid laners in the EU right now. So, I mean, I would rank myself pretty high. I mean, I don't think there's the best because I don't believe that there's. I mean, there's a best, obviously. Like, you can say that someone is the best, but I think that you can always get better. So, I think I'm at the top for sure, and I really want to play internationally again because I always manage to do well. And it sucks really, really much to see EU fall, like, at Rift Rivals because, I mean, EU has been good, you know, at Worlds 2015, 2016. So, yeah.
Well, you're looking to conquer international, but you got to be able to do it at home. You've got G2 next week. You feel like you're going to have any problems against those guys?
I mean, Perks is a pretty good player, so I think it's going to be hard mid, but I think it will go even, and we will see which better teams wins.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thanks again for joining me, Febiven. Congrats on your 2-0.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and send it over to the analyst to close out the day, so take it away.
Thank you very much, Pyra. I love it. Febiven just saying I would have been the best mid at the tournament. Well, we have nothing to refute the claim, but Caps was the last person that put himself on top of a list, and we know what happened at Rift Rivals.
But Caps wasn't making a list for Caps versus whoever's playing mid lane plus a jungler. That's what they really underestimated.
Well, yeah, that is a good point. And Febiven did play really well in this series, and as you mentioned, they just had their jungle mid synergy absolutely on point, and that's what we wanted to see. You were talking a lot, or we were thinking. We're thinking about everything in context of Rift Rivals, let's be honest, because EU had such a hard time there. So we want to see from our top teams some takeaways. Is that what the Jankos moves and the mid-jungle priority signal to you?
Yeah, I think so. That's what H2K seemed to take from the EU versus NA Rift Rivals, was using Jankos and investing in Jankos in the early game as well. Not just having him around the lane, but actively looking to set up plays for Jankos. And it worked out very well in both games. The Zag, the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin game is a little bit more around topside, which is fine. That still can work because they put Phaxi behind, and inevitably it ended up getting the win here with H2K getting such a significant lead over Roccat.
That did. Pyra there asked Febiven, you know, what about the winning lanes and putting more into that? And I guess obviously you always want to win your lane. I guess the problem comes, or the issue comes, if you go toe-to-toe, if you go with teams that are just as good as you in lanes and you go even. What should you do then? Because that should be the idea when you play other top teams, and it doesn't really come down to smashing your lane and winning the game because of it.
That's a difficult one when you look at, especially an H2K versus a Roccat. Everybody expects H2K to win that series, right? So why not just play early game and not necessarily have to play for the scaling? I think the discussion about G2 versus H2K is where we might see them draft away from these early lanes that they ended up winning, but they played the Corki in game 2 for H2K. It still looked fine. They didn't need to play early game all the time against the Roccat team. This was a significantly easier matchup for them.
Yeah, we also saw it devolve into a little bit of skirmishes, a lot of skirmishes here and there across the map, maybe getting a bit too hyped themselves, but for H2K, fantastic win on the board. For Roccat, though, same goes for them. They did have a week off. They had a wake-up call versus Vitality 0-2 in week 5 after their upsets last split and almost making it to those playoffs. We did want to see some progress, and you can't help but be a bit disappointed. You never know how strong H2K actually is and if they repeat this versus any other team, but you want to see some more counterplay.
The one thing we wanted from Roccat that I think we did get a little of was less reliance on individual picks. Not picking the Gnar when it was available in game 2, looking at other options. Wadid with the Allistar when he got targeted out so heavily. I think it is growth out of Roccat, but it's not expected that that growth is going to beat H2K overnight, really. And I think Roccat is still on a path to secure 4th spot, but they've obviously got contenders nipping on their heels.
I don't know what I think, you know, is worse, trying to go for those different picks if the ones that you win with are open. I feel like you should just try and make it work with that.
To some extent. I think that's a really awkward one because I think in this game, it's actually fine to try stuff out. Maybe expand the champion pool of your team compositions, because when you do face a team that you are expected to beat, that's when you need that depth of champion pool, because if you can only play 3 champions and they get banned out, well, suddenly it's not quite such a favored game in your favor.
We'll see what Roccat comes up with in the next couple of weeks. They are at the bottom of the table vying for a playoff spot, but there are some other contenders. Vitality earlier today, they managed to get to win over Ninjas in Pajamas. A strong performance in the third game. They did lose that second game, but there's a bit of hype around Vitality.
There's hype. They managed to get these Ashe arrows working. Steelbacks flashing forward in team fights. Everything looked great for Vitality. This was game one, which even looked good in their favor. Deficio was singing their praises after game one. Everything looked great. Quite a quick win.
Quick dab.
It looked like Vitality had regained it, but Ninjas in Pajamas utilizing a very similar comp to what Vitality won with 2 weeks ago. The Tahm Kench, the Ashe, the Shen, looking quite good in their own right. But game 3, you already talked about it. Vitality crushing through Nuke Duck, picking up a pentakill, really unlocked by Joko and the rest of Vitality in this game. The skirmishing potential out of this lineup from Vitality just destroyed the Ninjas in Pajamas this game.
And the bounce back after that loss in game 2 is admirable from Vitality, a team. As said, we're starting to get a bit of hype. I also just talked to them a bit before the show, and they said, well, you know, these are the crucial matches that we need to win, and we're vying for that playoff spot. And if you look at the standings, they are in a better position. Obviously, H2K picking up another bunch of points, and Vitality there at 3 and 4 now, so they're creeping closer. And if we look at what we've seen today from Roccat and the Ninjas in Pajamas, that is a very valuable spot, and those are very valuable points.
Exactly. Ninjas in Pajamas on the other side being without a series win, of course, puts them in such a horrible spot because they already played Mysterious Monkeys. Now they've already played Vitality and didn't pick up a win. They have to go back into their own group play and now pick up wins off Roccat or G2, which is a very difficult feat.
And unfortunately for Vitality, that group is pretty stacked when it comes to 1, 2, and 3. So maybe they would have wanted to be on the other side.
But I think Vitality might be able to contend with Splyce. Depending on how Splyce play tomorrow, if Vitality can pull out those kind of compositions and play as clean as they did in games 1 and 3, that might be the series that jumps them up in the standings.
Well, we'll see if that happens the whole day. Obviously, we cannot... Rift Rivals is always going to be on our mind, and I think it's going to be a bit of a Rift Rivals trauma, but we need to take some things away from it. So I was wondering if there's anything you saw today that you see connected to what we saw at Rift Rivals, some good takeaways, some bad takeaways.
So we've talked a lot about the mid lane and jungle synergy already. I think it's hard to understate how important that was at Rift Rivals and in these first few series coming back until teams are starting to find their own playstyle. Once again, high jungle proximity going towards the mid lane. Febiven looking great on both the early game and the scaling mid laner when playing up against a scaler himself. So that's one thing that we take away. I'm actually quite excited about the bottom lane changes that we've seen from Rift Rivals, which is not just about the EU and NA Rift Rivals where we saw the rise of Braum, but you look over at the LCK, LPL, LMS Rift Rivals, we were seeing Kalista, Rakan. Well, Rakan's been banned out because of how strong he is. Now we get the Allistar. Wadid and H2K bringing it out in both games. That's a really exciting meta when you start getting these engaged champions in the bottom lane that we're seeing taken from other metas around the world from Rift Rivals.
Yeah, definitely so. Top lane, why no Kled? Kled was so strong at Rift Rivals.
Yes, he was so strong, but NA, there's, they play a lot of Kled in the solo queue compared to what we do. We have like Wonder, who is a Kled player that I'm expecting tomorrow to see Splyce bring out. It's a champion that isn't as easy as just picking up Kled and going, oh, I can win every single game, because his trading potential around his passive, around Skarl and the way you become untargetable kind of is difficult to balance in lane. And a champion like Renekton is so much more easy to play out in a laning phase. And if you mismanage a trade, Renekton kills you, takes over the game.
Well, I think this is also a key takeaway, because we're always thinking about what do we see, what can work for our teams. But it is important for our top teams also, I think, not to over-index on that and not to think about that too much, because you can't just plug and play any champion. You can't just plug and play any style. And at the end of the day, a team like TSM stole a bunch of styles and was just clearly by far and away the best team at Rift Rivals. You can't just expect to get up to that level.
Yeah, TSM looked like the only team that could adapt between different styles readily. And that's a big testament that they can already do that going towards the World Championships. They're a team that I think is actually going to do well this year for North America.
Is that the stress curse coming up
yeah,
early?
Probably. Sorry, TSM fans.
Yeah, but it's also important to differentiate between what you can take, what you want to work on, and also to think that EU is bad. But Unicorns of Love didn't succeed for different reasons than G2 didn't succeed, and they didn't succeed for different reasons that Fnatic didn't succeed. So it is kind of an intricate one to break down.
And going up into tomorrow's matchup, Unicorns versus Misfits, I took a long time talking with Unicorns after Rift Rivals. A lot of the players, the staff, one thing that people aren't really sure of, but shouldn't be counted as an excuse, is Unicorns changed their internal communication over the last 2 weeks, which is one of the reasons why it's shifted towards Exile in the mid lane.
They used to always have democracy, right?
Right, now Exile is actually a larger, louder voice in the team, but that, of course, has its downfall. While he's trying to manage everybody around the Rift, of course, he's more vulnerable to not paying attention to his own lane. It's not an excuse, and it shouldn't be taken as one, but Unicorns, they're changing things behind the scenes to work on their playstyle, and maybe that might be responsible for a dip now that could see them on an upswing later into the split.
I'm going to trust your word for it, but I have to say a bit flabbergasted because it isn't like, yeah, Exile has been trending downwards, but not just in the last 2 weeks. He has fundamental things to work on. From my perspective, if you then put all the responsibility or more responsibility on, that seems like counterproductive, but I'm not a coach for that reason exactly.
And I think, of course, there's a lot of conjecture on this and how successful it actually be. The ironic thing is, as Unicorns seem to be trending towards one voice more than democracy, every other team over the last year have gone away from one shot call and now acting on multiple voices. So that's one of those weird little changes the Unicorns are making right now. I can't tell you whether it'll be successful. We're going to have to watch their games. I think Misfits is a tough test because Maxwell's going to spend his time ganking for Power of Evil in the middle lane. I don't think there's any real argument against that in tomorrow's series.
That's true. Let's take a look at the schedule, and I do hope we get to speak to someone on the Unicorns of Love because interesting revelations about the shot calling. But anyway, indeed, very interesting matchup. Obviously, Misfits, they had that comeback loss that H2K just ran over them when they were 8,000 gold ahead. They will want to, well, show that they won't let that happen again. And then G2 Esports versus Splice, so interesting because Splice, you think, should be a team that now has to take this chance of G2 being weakened and, well, prove that they are a top team.
And I think they're one of the teams that has the tools to play multiple styles. We've seen the likes of the Kled, the 1-3-1 out of Splice. We also, in the last 2 weeks, saw them team fighting more effectively. And if Cubby's player picture is anything of a spoiler, that Ashe might be coming out of the bottom lane.
With Deficio really happy.
Yeah, Deficio will love it. Danish and Ashe, everything will be going in Splice's favor tomorrow.
We will see. In any case, very interesting matchups there. It's time for us to log off for the night. Thank you very much for watching. And we will be back here tomorrow for an action-filled day in the EU LCS. See you then.
Know that Joko is here though.
Both junglers on, they look for Cabochard. There's a stun up, and in comes Joko. Can they finish the job? But it's first blood. Prophet goes down. Nukeduck's had to flash into the pit, and Sjokz comes out of nowhere. They found a pick onto the Vitality mid laner. All of a sudden, Prophet face checks into Nukeduck, and EQ face checks into the rest of the team. He pulls himself into the arrow and steal back. Vitality smell the blood, and they're going all in. Prophet, that's a big croc, but Vitality are bigger. But the Nexus is laid bare, and 35 minutes in, Vitality close out game one. Looks like this fight is getting a little hectic here as Spraddle swallows up his ADC, and Prophet is left by himself. Nogne coming in a little bit late for round number 2.
Can enter, I think. Nice. Nice, good up. I TP. Okay, nice.
NIP will take down the Nexus towers, grab themselves a Nexus, equalize the series. Go Ninjas, go Ninjas, go!
Oh, Prophet, he skilled W. He doesn't even have his E.
Nukeduck! Oh, phosphorus bomb!
Nice. Keep it up, well played.
Alright, guys. Nice, good job, guys. Give them.
Penta.
Take it, steal it.
And he does it! A pentakill for Nukeduck! GG Vitality!
H2K and Roccat load up for game number 1.
Oh, Betsy, he needs a blast code.
What a good stun. Flash forward, blast code. This is it! Betsy, you can't do that! Unleash power comes out. Face call comes out from Harjan as well. Buys a couple extra seconds. Wadid forced to flash over the wall, but you can't escape the Cataclysm as the Nexus goes down. H2K dominate game 1.
He gets the kill. Minions are hitting him. He walks. Oh, the last minion died. No!
I'm trolling. What did I do? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
Go here.
As Febiven gets a double kill, H2K are knocking on the Nexus, and with the fastest win of the summer split, obliterate Roccat.